See what happens. Veja o que acontece quando você usa o falso título do feminismo, usa o feminismo para propagar uma falsa ideologia, uma ideologia promíscua e nojenta como essa aqui. Quem foi Adnan Oktar, o velho que estávamos a falar antes? O velho turco muçulmano, que eu chamei de Mohammed São Cipriano, porque a primeira vez que eu vi ele, eu senti uma coisa assim muito estranha. Eu sabia que aquele velho não era sincero, não era uma pessoa boa.
Turkey
Tem pessoas que usam uma falsa ideologia, manchando o nome de outros para ter algum ganho, alguma vantagem sobre isso, lucro, etc. Esses filha da rapariga, com essas mulheres putas, tudo puta aqui, ó. Tudo mulheres da noite. E algumas delas vêm de classe social alta, mas tudo puta.
controversial televangelist. Is this man a dangerous revolutionary or a bizarre
Bem
playboy?
pouco, velho, foi preso. Aparentemente ele se meteu com a política externa e eles foram atrás dele bem pouco. Mexeu na ciência desse povo, mexeu na política e se lascou. Quis bancar o quê?
I'm Imran
O novo imperador do mundo.
Garta, and today's newsmaker is Adnan Oktar. Is the kind of character you could imagine Sacha Baron Cohen lampooning in a movie like Borat. Adnan Oktar's religious TV program features him surrounded by luxury vehicles, mansions, and typically blonde young women he calls kittens.
Blonde ou fake blonde?
Just as
Blonde, tudo de cabelo escuro querendo ser blonde. Essas gordas.
colorful are his sermons. He preaches
Tá
a
mais pra gatonas gordas.
feminist revolution within Islam while advocating that women appear in public with skimpy clothing and makeup.
E usando religião para mascarar, né?
But the allegations against Oktar are no joke. He and hundreds of his supporters now face a litany of charges. They include running a criminal organization, tax offenses, sexual...
Organização criminosa, crimes, fiscais, abuso, não pagou taxa também, né? Não pagou imposto, abuso sexual
abuse and terror
e acusações
charges.
de
His
terrorismo.
followers condemn the accusations. They say he's the target of a vicious witch hunt by a conservative government. In a moment, we'll be joined by a former so-called kitten who now says she was a victim.
Essas bichas são safadas, essas nojentas já velha, tudo com a cara de 45, 46, 49, e eles querendo ser vítima. Quando são menininhas de 18, 17, 16, 18 abaixo, 19 abaixo, 21 abaixo, a gente fica calado, umas bichas já velha dessa.
Victim of his
Tudo com a
abuse.
cara
But
velha.
first, this report by Haider Abbasi.
Eu falei aqui, as mulheres são tão safadas quanto o homem. Uma mulher inteligente e moralista jamais ia cair nisto. Caíram de safada. São tudo bicha de direita e bicha de... assim, né? Marxistas. Falam ser feminista usando o nome do feminismo.
Adnan Oktar, a Turkish preacher and self-proclaimed author on Islam. But he isn't exactly what comes to mind when you think religious scholar. Oktar
As mulheres cheias de plástica. Nossa senhora, ele tá igual o sudeste brasileiro. Cheia de mulheres plastificadas esse país, Turquia.
had his own television show in Turkey where he discussed religious topics.
Tudo mulher artificial.
Between his sermons on faith and Islamic values, the 62-year-old liked to dance.
Todas essas mulheres que fazem plásticas e se ordenam ou ornamentam-se assim como uma chaminé ou uma árvore, né? Como uma cheia de ornamentos de museu, como uma casa cheia de ornamentos de museu. E são mulheres idiotas que não têm cabeça, não são inteligentes e muito menos maduras.
A fondness for designer suits and opulent living.
Ela só traz priquita pra ter o que elas querem, pra ter fama, notoriedade.
Himself with young female devotees.
Não tem problema se elas vão ser vistas como uma pessoa, apenas um objeto sem valor, um cachorro, como o velho disse, que foi Darwin que falou. Na verdade foi ele quem falou, esse velho safado.
Called kittens. But behind this colorful image, the reality seems far
o olho do velho, como parece uma snake, e a sobrancelha já tem olho de gente ruim.
more sinister. And now the party is over. Behind this gate is the luxury home of Adnan Oktar. It was here that Oktar and more than 100 of his associates were arrested last week. It's reported that police found weapons and ammunition. Oktar is facing a series of charges, including fraud and sexual assault.
Eu não tenho pena, não sei que seja criança, essas putas. Elas merecem até pior, essas nojentas.
Accused of running a criminal
Mulheres odientas.
gang, money laundering and torturing people. Oktar denies all the charges
Mulheres assim tem que levar tapa na cara todo
accuses
dia.
British intelligence of being behind his arrest. For years,
E
Oktar has
são escrava de rola, escrava de macho, escrava de popularidade, escrava da fama, escrava de dinheiro, escrava da materialidade, do material, escrava da, como se fala, do material, escrava da superficialidade.
has been viewed by many Muslims around the world as a respected author. In Turkey, others have considered him an eccentric. Writing under the pen name Harun Yahya, his books would focus on refuting Darwin's theory of evolution.
Até aí tudo bem. Ele tem a sua própria mente, seu modo de pensar. Então, quem são essas pessoas para ir contra esse homem e dizer que ele está errado? Né? Mas até aí tudo bem. O problema é inventar feminismo errôneo para manchar o nome verdadeiro do genuíno feminismo, dizendo que essas mulheres são feministas quando elas não eram autônomas e obedeciam todas as suas ordens. Elas não podiam ir contra a ordem dele.
And many Islamic shops stock his books.
2000 से लेकर सन 2000 से लेकर
From 2000 to 2008, his books were very popular. They were in big demand. Wherever there were book fairs, his works would sell. But after that, there was a decline in their popularity.
So where did it all go wrong for Oktar? Pirat Devaliolo began following Adnan Oktar in the 1980s and remained with the group for more than 10 years.
2017-2018'de
When you leave the group and become successful, this is a bad example. Adnan Oktar wants to give this message inside this organization. Those who leave the group should never be successful. If you leave it, you face big problems. That's why they started to defame and slander me.
For years, Oktar has been accused of preying on young, wealthy women, using sex and drugs as blackmail to lure them into his organization.
Essa bicha
many who wanted to leave
safada,
say they
não é
were
nem o
forced to
homem
stay.
também, é a bicha safada.
In February,
Mulher
Oktar's TV show
nojenta.
was suspended by
E ainda falam da brasileira, né, velho safado? Olha essas mulheres
Turkey's broadcasting watchdog,
do Líbano, Síria,
which said
Turquia,
undermined
tudo
gender equality.
safada, Tunísia,
So after years of rumors and
Europa.
allegations,
tudo
what
burra.
prompted Turkish police to act now? Haida Abbasi, The Newsmakers.
Essas brasileiras que são iguais é porque tem a mesma etnia delas.
Well, joining me now is former Adnan Oktar follower, Ceylan Özgul. In West Jerusalem, we have Yisrael Medad. He's a research fellow at the Menachem Begin Heritage Center. And in Islamabad, Mohammed Waqas Khan, he's a research fellow at the University of Notre Dame. Let me
Tem um judeu
go to
veio.
you first, Ceylan. And I thank you so much for coming onto the show. It's really important to get your perspective here.
Ah, vai esquentar a
Thank you for
treta aí.
having me.
The detention warrant. I'm looking at this list of charges. It's insane. Fraud, sexual assault, child kidnapping, tax evasion, slander, military espionage.
Eu acho que
Does
o
that
principal
sound like
motivo
the...
dele ser apreendido foi por causa da taxa, a invasão de imposto, nada mais. Sabe como é o sistema, né? Ele passou esses anos todos fazendo presepada com até menores de idade. Ninguém falou nada, né? Usando religião e feminismo para alimentar a ideologia dele. E no final só fizeram alguma coisa quando ele invadiu o imposto. Oh, vamos.
group that you were once a part of?
Yes, exactly the group that I was once a part.
Olha a bicha da cara inchada. Era aquela bicha da cara inchada. Ou escureceu foi. O cabelo continuou o mesmo. Cabelo pintado. E a cor escureceu.
Of.
Bicha safada. Era a principal, a favorita dele, a Spock. A Spoken Man.
Why did you
Unfortunately.
A interlocutora dele.
Actually, when I saw the list that morning of the raids, first I was really shocked because it's a very long list of one paper full of charges. And then I started reading the charges and I thought, unfortunately, all of these are true.
What was the point at which you decided this is too
Agora,
much for me?
engraçado, por que não prender essas nojentas, desde que elas também são cúmplices? Por que prender só o homem? Elas também deveriam ser apreendidas por serem a cúmplice, porque elas são velhas demais e de maior. Elas deveriam saber onde elas estavam se metendo, o que estavam a fazer. Que país é esse? Elas também deveriam ser pelo menos processadas ou algo assim. E deixada bem crapte.
Me, I have to go. I have to leave.
It started when it was 2013. I tried to leave when it was 2013, but unfortunately my trial to leave was unsuccessful because they saw me trying to leave and they stopped me. So at the time, it was only 2 years into the start of the A9 TV, and I was realizing something really started to go wrong. So I decided that I shouldn't be a part of this organization anymore. But then it wasn't until 2017 that I could leave.
Did they make it very difficult for you?
Yeah, it was literally imprisonment. That's why I couldn't leave. Right now we are seeing a house which is full of cameras, full of screens. So I was in that house. That's why it was very difficult for me to leave.
Right. I want to go to Pakistan for the Pakistani perspective. Mohammed Waqas Khan, one of the reasons why I want to come to you is I guess like you initially came across Harun Yahya, the pen name or the brand. I remember seeing his books in an Islamic bookstore in Johannesburg, South Africa, seeing it in Malaysia and in other countries as well. There's a perception of Adnan Oktar and what he stands for outside of Turkey, which
Claro
is
que os racistas extremistas islâmicos iriam comprar o livro dele.
of,
Nós-
I don't know, a creationist scholar, I guess. Is that how you saw it as well?
As mentes lavadas.
Well, Adnan Oktar, or as his pen name, Harun Yahya, was like a great religious scholar to us, especially to me, like for the younger generation of Pakistan, the generation who believes upon Islam and believes that there is no certain thing like evolution or something like that. So his books upon the issue that are giving us a very strong perspective against evolution was like something very fascinating. Initially, I was one of the people who become a victim of that like attractive theory that there is no evolution.
But
and
Mohammed Waqas, let me ask you, sorry to interrupt you, right? So let me ask you, was it that you decided to go with the scientific consensus on evolution, right? That, okay, you know, human beings have evolved with Darwinism and that you can still be religious and accept that? Or did you see what was going on in Turkey and did you see, I don't know, the girls and the insinuations of sex parties and that sort of side to Adnan Oktar, which made you think maybe this guy is dodgy? Which one was it?
Well, that's disturbing. You know, especially in Pakistan, you see, we have been hearing the news about Tariq Ramazan, another religious scholar, Noman Ali Khan, another religious scholar, and now Adnan Oktar. And we have been thinking that these people are really religious scholars and religious people. But now, when we have seen such kind of news, it's terrible. Right. I mean, it's like disturbing, very disturbing. I don't know. I mean, how to describe that, but it's not acceptable, at least.
Okay, Yisrael Medad.
Homem feminista.
I want to ask you if you're a fan of Adnan Oktar.
I'm not a fan because I don't know him. I understand him as a person over the past 2 or 3 years who's been trying to reach out to Israel, even Judaism, and whenever a hand is outstretched, I take it and I try to see if I can go along with it.
If I told you that in his previous books he saw a conspiracy between Darwinists, Freemasons, and Zionists as being behind all the problems in the world, and it was packed with all sorts of anti-Semitic stuff, you would say what?
I would say that everybody has a past, everybody has a present, and everybody has a future. If I understand he has rejected that, or has tried to explain it, doesn't make a difference. At the present moment that I am reading and listening to him as much as I can, I see some positive force, which I welcome.
Okay, so this is interesting. And one of the reasons why I went to Jerusalem and I went to Islamabad before I come back to you here, Jaylan, in studio, is we've got international perceptions and perspectives about the brand Harun Yahya and the man Adnan Oktar. Was this by design? Or is it just that this is a complicated guy and a complicated institution, that's why you're going to have these various perspectives?
No, actually, these perspectives are formed on purpose. Also, inside the organization, there is a cell system. Not everyone can know everything that is going on inside the organization or about the activities of the organization. That's why a lot of high-profile people, a lot of really educated people join this organization. Also, our former guest said that everyone has a past, everyone has a present and a future. The past of this organization didn't look like how it looks today. That's why, including me, a lot of people, a lot of young people joined this organization.
What was the secret to the appeal? Why did you say, I want to join this organization?
It was different for every single person, like tailored for every single person. But for me, the organization looks like an organization led by a man who is writing books on creation and Islam.
Did he write the books?
No, he didn't.
Who wrote the books?
His followers, his students like me, were contributing all together in a pool of activities, which led to the books and articles and conferences, all these activities that we see today or we used to see.
Right.
So it wasn't looking like this. The organization evolved and the man also evolved. In the matter of this evolution of his own...
Although he rejects evolution, yes.
All these crimes came out.
Right. And so, for example, when he reaches out to Judaism or even in politics to the nation state of Israel. What does that mean right now? Because we have someone like Israel Medad saying, I don't know much about the guy, but he's extending a hand.
I think he's
What's
being
behind that?
I think he's only being opportunistic because we see this also in other harmful organizations like this. When they see maybe an over-enthusiastic audience, they take this as a call. For example, I know right now Israel especially, and maybe a few other states, but we see this in Israel a lot, an understanding of whoever supports me is my friend, whoever don't support me is my enemy kind of approach. Not in everyone, but in a lot of people. I think he made use of this approach.
Right. So, Mr. Medad, you're being played basically by an opportunist who's running a sex cult.
Essa bicha sabia.
How do you feel about that?
That's a possibility. The possibility is that he himself and his followers, and I understand many tens of thousands of people who are watching the films, could be convinced that there is a future between a less aggressive form of Islam and other countries around the world, even the state of Israel, which is a Jewish country. And in that, we're helping to build peace, coexistence, even though perhaps the path and the road is bumpy. But if you don't start to go along somewhere, you're never going to get to any sort of resolution of crisis or conflict.
Right. But Mr. Medad, you say a less aggressive form of Islam. Maybe, this is seen as a sort of a more palatable alternative. But we read again the charges: sexual assault, child kidnapping, fraud, tax evasion, slander, military espionage, and so forth. We have a former member of the organization saying, you know what, all of this stuff is true. Don't you want to press pause for a second and go, hold on, maybe this isn't the guy whose friendship we should be accepting?
First, that's a very good possibility. Everybody has to take a good look at everything. I'm just wondering, with such a long list of crimes that he is being charged with, or will be charged with, or will not be charged with, I think they could have been done maybe a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. Why all of a sudden now do we see such a long list of crimes, including espionage, when, as far as I know, because I met recently 2 of his aides in Jerusalem, he's been going on for a very long time. This is very strange.
Okay, this is interesting, and let me ask you, Jayla, because is it maybe true that a lot of stuff might have been tolerated, or he might have been left alone? The group might have been left alone until he decided to get involved in politics, and once he decided to get involved in politics, the state came down on him. Is that maybe what's going on?
First of all, I think he created this image of himself dancing with girls around him lately, in the latest few years, especially in Turkey. That's why especially the Turkish authorities or people started to believe in this image and started to take him lightly. So when everyone were busy looking at this image, in the background, behind closed doors, he was carrying out these activities, these criminal activities. And if we look at the raid that was carried out by the police station, we are seeing 121 houses raided on the same day, and a list of 31 criminal charges. You have to find the evidences for all of them. I think this takes time, but when we look at the time of the start of this case, it's 2016. So the state has been determined to find out evidence against these charges since 2016. So from this we are understanding, after the coup d'etat carried out by FETÖ organization, the first thing the state did was to take a look at this Adnan Oktar organization and try to see what he is doing.
Do you think there are similarities between FETÖ and
Yes,
Adnan
I think
Oktar's
there is a lot of there are a lot of similarities between FETÖ, PKK, and Adnan Oktar organization, which came around at the same time, on the same year, 40 years ago.
I want to ask you something very personal, if you don't mind.
Course.
You're an accomplished, educated, smart woman, right?
Inteligente,
he
really.
called you a kitten. He considered you a kitten. I don't know if you're in, this is an older I don't know if you're in this photograph. I don't.
Not on this one, but I'm in photos.
Yeah, you are in
with
some
him.
of his older
Yeah.
photographs. You're not in this one, but you're a highly accomplished, educated woman. How did you feel about being called a kitten? His kitten?
In the beginning of our conversation, I told you I was determined to leave in the beginning of 2013, at the end of 2012. So in that time, even that hadn't started yet. But I was seeing the possibility of this going to this, the former face of the organization turning into this. So that's why I was uncomfortable, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to leave.
Can I ask you if the most egregious of charges, child rape,
Yeah.
can I ask you if that took place, if
O
you were
homem
aware of it
pergunta
during your time in
faz
the
uma
organization?
pergunta a Anta e a Anta responde outra. O homem pergunta por que você sendo uma mulher influente, uma mulher inteligente, entre aspas, porque nada inteligente nesse troço. Inteligente e tal, como é que você caiu nisso? Como você sentia ser chamada de gata, né? Gata. Que é um nome derogatório também para as mulheres. Simboliza uma mulher sexy, uma mulher que pode se pegar e não é uma mulher banal. Aí ela falou assim, ela invadiu, ela não falou, bem, ela deveria pelo menos falar, eu não estava confortável a ser chamada de gata. Ao invés disso ela falou, eu queria sair, tudo mentira, nojenta, tu tava lá defendendo ele todas as vezes. Imunda mentirosa.
I know right now that it took place when I was in the organization, but I didn't witness it with my eyes. But with all the other complainants, which is more than 100.
Isso é o que chama de mulher falciana, serpente falciana. Na cara do homem ela era uma coisa e atrás do homem outra coisa. Serpente falciana. Um merece o outro.
There are also
Macho safado merece uma mulher assim. E mulher safada merece o que ela teve dele.
a lot of very young people, including people who were abused when they were 7-year-old, 10-year-old, 14-year-old. And with all of these
Cortineiro.
complainants in the last months, we have become like a
Não sei porque essa idiota não tá presa com essas outras putas aqui. Tudo
family.
vadia
So I
puta.
know all their stories and I know their complaints. That's how I know these really took place.
Mohammed Waqas Khan,
Tudo a cúmplice de pedo.
for people around the world, within Muslim communities around the world, who come across the Harun
E
Yahya
ainda assemelha uma miséria dessa com feminista. Feminista é puta lixo, é nojenta. E
books,
existe lá feminista nesses lugares.
might find them interesting, might want to read them. What's your message to them?
Well, I would say that there is two parts of his life. One, his work, his books, and then his personal life. I would personally say that his personal life is not should not be our concern if he is not involved in any kind of criminal.
I think on purpose kept
Aquele
much
vai ser
smaller
logo solto. Ele já tá solto, eu creio.
to be able to maneuver the organization much faster. So I have never seen and I never thought that he had ultimate goals like taking over the state or any conspiracy theories like this. But I think most
Ele
importantly,
estava chegando lá, Anta. Ele estava chegando lá. Ele estava pavimentando o way, Anta.
and which makes it
Pavimentando o caminho primeiro. Faustando, Anta burra.
the most dangerous is his ultimate goal is to keep the organization alive. So just to keep the organization alive, just to keep himself alive, standing, he can do anything. He can commit any crime, just like a drug addict, for example.
It's been fascinating getting a deeper understanding of Adnan Oktar's group. He goes under the pen name Harun Yahya.
Pois é, vamos chegar aqui ao fim. Né? Então, isso que acontece com quem faz um uma falsa propaganda, usando um título falso e usando outros tipos de ideologia como representante dessa farsa. Nesse caso, nós temos aqui um culto baseado em pornografia, em safadeza. Diz que eles lidavam até com um filme pornô. Então eles usavam tudo isso e usavam o que? Religião, nesse caso o Islã, e usavam as mulheres, as mulheres não, que tem muita mulher safada, por aí usavam o feminismo original como base de estudo, né? A qual não era verdade. Essas bichas nunca foram feministas, essas bichas foram putalistas, sem autonomia. E isso mostra o quê? Que a gente tem que parar de defamar as feministas e alegar que todas as mulheres safadas são feministas. Aquilo é um grupo, aquilo é um regime já bem programado para destruir as verdadeiras mulheres que têm boas intenções, para acabar com todos os males dessa terra. Quais os males? Injustiça contra as crianças, contra estupro, contra a mulher, contra sua mãe, etc. Ok? Essa seria, pelo menos, as verdadeiras intenções de uma verdadeira original feminista. E dentro desse quadro não existe espaço para nada mais, para imoralidade, para debaucharia, para flip-flopping, para cortar dos dois lados, ou seja, dizer que é uma feminista e ao mesmo tempo ir atrás de macho, correr atrás de macho, ser vulgar com machos, como essas mulheres aqui, entendeu? E ser escrava de macho, não tem espaço para isso. As mulheres feministas, elas não querem ser superior ao homem, elas querem apenas o direito de existir. Não apenas coexistir com eles, porque elas, se pudessem, elas viveriam sozinhas. E as feministas verdadeiras aqui são raras, mais raras do que uma pérola negra, certo? As verdadeiras. Tem muitas pseudo-feministas por ali, mas as verdadeiras é tão rara como uma pérola escura, ok? Então, vir aqui e usar esse escândalo aqui, porque isso é um escândalo, um monte de mulher, um harém, com esse velho no meio, e usando o título de feminismo e como as mulheres devem ser, e o Islã, blá blá blá. E no final eles tinham outras intenções, usando o nome do feminismo, quando elas nada tinham de feministas aqui, e sim de mulheres oportunistas, tanto quanto esse velho aqui, todos oportunistas, tentando criar um espaço de fama e notoriedade para eles.